This is Aussie Mac Zone. We'll cover everything Apple, including Macs, iPhones, iPads, and more. All this from an Aussie perspective. Sit back, relax, and insert yourself into the zone. The Aussie Mac Zone.
Hi everybody, welcome to show 273 Aussie Mac Zone. And tonight I'm lucky enough to have Zarn. How are you tonight, sir?
Fantastic, Michael. How are you?
Very good, thank you. So we are brought to you tonight by IT Helps You and Aussie Tech Heads Podcasting. Now our Aussie Apple ramblings this week. So the first one is Australia's political parties targeting cyber hack of federal parliament. SBS is reporting the Prime Minister Scott Morrison says the computer networks of political parties were part of a recent foreign-based cyber hack of the federal parliament. Prime Minister Scott Morrison has revealed all Australian major political parties were hacked by a sophisticated state actor in a breach of security earlier this month. Mr. Morrison provided an update to Parliament on the investigation into the cyber attack on February 8. During the course of this work, we also became aware that the networks of some political parties, Liberal, Labor, Nationals, has also been affected, Mr. Morrison told Parliament on Monday. Our cyber experts believe that a sophisticated state actor is responsible for this malicious activity. Security sources indicated last week China could be the source. How would they know? But anyway, the Prime Minister insists there has been no electoral interference, but has stepped up cyber security in response. We have acted decisively to protect our national interests. Now, the methods used by malicious actors are constantly evolving, and this incident just reinforces yet again the importance of cyber security as a fundamental part of everyone's business. Now, the political parties are more vulnerable, opposition leader Bill Shorten said. Political parties were more vulnerable to cyber attacks. We have seen overseas that it is progressive parties that are more likely to be targeted by ultra-right-wing organisations, Mr. Shorten told Parliament. Political parties are small organisations with only a few full-time staff. They collect, store and use large amounts of information about voters and communities. He called for Australia's cyber security agencies to provide more assistance to parties. Our agencies shouldn't just be providing advice to political parties, but actively assisting in their defence. Maybe they should hire a specialist anti-hacker person, for example.
That'd be a good idea.
Yeah. So that's one of the biggest growth areas is
Cyber security.
Yeah, what they call ethical hacking.
Yep.
So yeah, you got to do basically get a police check before you can start even doing the course. So
that's cool.
Yeah. And the other hassle is if you're an ethical hacker, you've also sort of got to be unknown because you don't want people like looking for your family and stuff to make you an unethical hacker.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, so you just got to be very aware and careful. Now, we are thinking about having a live call-in period in the show where you can call in, ask questions, comment about stories, etc. What will happen after we've trialled it is we will give you a number to call, and that will put you in a room where you can still hear the show, and then when we get you in and you can ask your question or make comments, etc. Basically, we just have to work out the delay button. So when you tell us we're all idiots but using the wrong language, we just have to stop that going out to keep our rating. So we're going to trial that in a couple of weeks.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, just have to get people ready and raring to go.
Awesome. Now,
the Apple App Store spending hit an all-time high in 2018. Cult of Mac, that's 2018 Apple's financial year. So that's like, what is it?
In the financial year,
March to Jan. No, this is Apple's one. So
okay.
That finishes, I think, the end of end of January, I think, off the top. Anyway, something like that, something weird. But Calder Mac reports iPhone users in the US spent on average US $79 last year on software. That's up 36% from 2017, according to figures from market analysis firm. Spending on premium apps and in-app purchases more than doubled since 2015. Of the 2018 total, 44 US was spent on games, a 22% increase year over year. Analysis at Sensor Tower indicate that last year's 36% increase in iOS software spending beat the 23% increase in 2017, but was still below the 42% increase of 2016. Now, purchases in the App Store are critical to Apple's future, as sales of iPhones are levelling off. The company depends more on income from those who already have a handset or tablet. Now, app revenue grew across the board, and more spending on games alone contributed $8 US to the 2018 total, but every type of iOS application saw double-digit growth, and some areas saw really significant increases. Apple's revenue from entertainment grew 82%, and spending on lifestyle apps was up 86%. Health and fitness were up 75%. Now, Apple is reportedly prepping a pair of low-cost iOS devices that should increase its installed base and therefore the number of people buying apps. Now, as we Australians are even more techie, I'm guessing our spending increased year on year even more.
Yeah, I reckon so.
Yeah. So this week, brought to you by IT Help to You. So don't forget, you want anything, just double check, give us a yell. There's machines that Apple won't work on, as you know, that are more than 7 years old. IT Help can help you. That's just an idea of some of the things that can be done that most people get told, oh, no, we don't support that anymore, see you later. So, yeah, just have a think about that, ithelptoyou.com.au.
This is true.
Yeah.
My computer's 8 years old.
And still going.
Still going. Fantastic. Thanks to you. Thanks to IT Help to you.
That's right. Now, even the one on your desk is probably, that you're using right now, is probably 6 or 7, at least 7 years old, I'd think.
Yeah, right.
Now, this is our public announcement. Multiple users report that Adobe Premiere CC bug blew their MacBook speakers. Software bugs can be annoying in the worst cases, resulting in lost work, but some Adobe Premiere users are reporting that the app has even more damaging bug blowing the speakers in their MacBook Pro machines. The report appears on Adobe Premiere CC forum. Premiere is the software that you use for editing video content. Now, one of the comments on the forum, I have a new 2-month-old 15-inch MacBook Pro. I was working on a project and MacBook volume was about half when suddenly a loud audio noise occurred, a screeching noise, and not letting me pause it. After it stopped, the speakers were really quiet, and after the next restart, they were clearly blown. Another one, I just blew my speakers, MacBook Pro 15-inch 2018 on Adobe Premiere. They are permanently damaged. I was using the 2019 audio suite for background sound, and while tweaking the settings, it made a loud, distorted noise that even hurt my ears. After that, my speakers are unusable. Another one, that happened to me as well. Both times I put a song in the timeline and went to adjust the volume, and it made a horrible loud noise and blew my speakers. I couldn't mute it or anything. These are reports that are on the Adobe forum. Now, all in, there are more than a dozen people reporting the problem. The incident seemed to occur using one of a number of Adobe CC Premiere audio enhancement tools, such as cleaning up the audio or enhancing the speech. One Adobe rep reportedly advised ensuring that the microphone was off when using these tools. This can be done in preferences, blah, blah, blah. This suggests that a feedback loop may be responsible, the microphone picking up the speaker output and amplifying it. So, it's a bit annoying, isn't it?
Yeah.
To have that happen to your machine. We'll see what happens to Adobe, whether they actually come to the party and pay for the repairs too.
Well, you would hope so. If there's so many complaints and that, that they need to do something. That's
yes,
so,
yeah.
I
Put their
think
hand up. Yeah.
Yeah, Adobe should definitely come to the party for this.
Yes, I agree. Now, Angela Ahrendts departing Apple in April. Deirdre O'Brien to oversee retail and people. So Apple's retail chief, Angela Ahrendts, is set to leave Apple in April after spending 5 years at the company, Apple announced today. Deirdre O'Brien, Apple's current vice president of people, is set to take Ahrendts' place. O'Brien will be taking on new responsibilities for Apple's retail and online stores in her expanded role as Senior Vice President of Retail and People, reporting directly to Apple CEO Tim Cook. That's not quite the same role that Ahrendts currently holds as Apple's Senior Vice President of Retail. O'Brien will focus on connection between the customer and the people and the processes that serve them. Now, in her new role as retail leader, she will also lead the people team and will oversee all people-related functions, including talent development and Apple University recruiting, employee relations, experience, business partnership, benefits, compensation, and inclusion and diversity. Now, and didn't that set the Apple Internet? Didn't that make the Apple Internet have a meltdown over this story? From she's getting the boot because iPhone sales are down after Tim Cook specifically said it's due to the China slowdown.
Yeah.
To why did we have a fashion person running the tech business? And she's definitely made changes to the store to make the retail store a better place. And the goal was obviously to make it a place where people would come and, it's maybe when she first set up, she was only going to be there for 5 years. Maybe that was her 5-year goal. I don't know. But congrats to Deirdre O'Brien on her position. This is one special lady, a 30-year Apple veteran who was once part of the team who designed the first Apple store.
Oh, wow.
Both online and retail. Has experience in all departments at Apple, even just by being the person in charge of people at Apple. Now, people that's HR in normal speak, of course. but the Apple retail have the most staff than the rest of Apple. So, they employ a lot of people.
They do.
Now, Cook also said that O'Brien has been directly involved in every major Apple launch for the last 20 years.
Wow.
So definitely. And she was there even when the place was going bad. And they said, well, why did you stay? And she said, because I was learning so much on how to tackle all the different challenges when, people are leaving, people are been given the boot, the place, when you go down from, 500 staff to 100 staff, a lot more challenges appear, don't they?
That's right.
So, and she stayed and learnt more. And she's still there. So Apple launches iPhone. This is one for you, Zarn.
Yep.
Apple launches iPhone financing promo in Australia.
Ooh.
0% interest for 24 months and a $50 credit.
Oh, wow.
Now, 9 to 5 Mac reports. Continuing its string of iPhone promotions recently, Apple has a new offer for its Australian customers. As of this week, you can order Apple products in Australia with 0% financing for 2 years. And if you buy an iPhone on financing, you get a $50 Australian dollars in cashback.
Awesome.
I wonder if it's cashback or whether it's a card. You know what I mean? But
either way, it's fine.
Yep. The new terms were spotted by Mac Prices Australia. Yep. Apple mixes up its financing deals every few months, and the offers regularly vary per region. It seems to depend on the deals they make with local banks that ultimately are the institutions offering the 0% interest loans. Apple has partnered with Latitude Financial Services for the Australian deal. To qualify for 0% interest over 2 years, the order must exceed $1,000 Australian, which is an iPhone.
Yep.
9 or 10 at least. However, customers can still qualify for 6 months interest-free for orders between $150 and $299.
Awesome.
And 1 year interest-free on orders above $300. Now, it is currently back to school season in Australia, and Apple says that those promotions are also eligible to be paid for with a 0% interest loan. See the website for full details and conditions. Apple says the $50 iPhone credit is available on all iPhone purchases. This means you can seemingly take advantage of the limited time iPhone XS XR trade-in and get a $50 credit back by paying for the new phone with financing. The website says the deal will end the 4th of March, but given Apple's flexible schedules with other limited time offers, it is possible the deadline will be extended past that date. So that's something for all of us to think about.
I know someone who's getting a new iPhone. I'm kidding.
I'll tell her that.
She can hear it.
That's nice of you to be buying her a new iPhone, isn't it?
I know.
And you still get the crappy iPhone.
I'd be happy with the crappy other one right now. Also, Mason would be stoked with an iPhone 5S as well, so it's fine.
Yes. Now, rumours start to abound. Apple's 2009 iPhones to wisely charge other devices, sport bigger batteries, and frosted glass.
2019 iPhones?
Well, that's next year's iPhone.
Yeah, no, you said 9, not 19.
Sorry.
Yep.
And that's, this year's iPhone, I should say.
That's right.
So the iPhone lineup allegedly won't look much different from the company's current offerings outside of some frosted glass. New technologies like bilateral wireless charging, ultra-wideband for enhanced indoor positioning, and a triple-lens camera, according to TF International Securities Analyst Ming-Chi Kuo. Now, Ming-Chi Kuo is pretty reliable on his reports, and he also reports Apple plans a new 16 to 16.5-inch MacBook Pro in 2019, aimed at pro designers.
Ooh.
As part of the 2019 product introductions, Apple will reportedly revitalise a tier of MacBook Pro larger than its current 15-inch models, positioned at hardcore gamers and pro designers. Now, I've got people who insist on spending reasonably big dollars to get their 17-inch really old MacBook Pros fixed because they want the bigger screen.
They want the bigger screen. Of course. Who doesn't want the bigger screen? Everyone always wants the bigger screen. So, if you're going to get the biggest screen, you may as well get the biggest screen.
That's right.
So they're saying hardcore gamers. So what does that mean for people who like to game?
I don't know, because what games are you going to have to be able to play on it anyway? That's the challenge, isn't it?
Yeah. Because I've got lots of friends that are PC gamers.
Yep.
And they work with both Mac. MacBooks, and they work with PCs, mainly gaming for PCs. One friend in mind, shout out to his camera shop. He owns a camera house.
Okay.
Up in Queensland now. It's finally official. The paperwork's gone through, so that's
excellent.
Yes, and so he put a photo on Facebook today, so I'm guessing it's official. And that's in... I wish I could remember where it was. It's in the north coast of Queensland, so it's up around it's the Sunshine Coast.
Yeah.
That's
the north coast of Brisbane, not the north coast of Queensland.
Sorry, north coast of Brisbane. Jesus. And Jeff Muir.
Yeah.
Is his name, and he's just bought a camera house up there, so check it out. And but he is great. He's always worked with PCs, but he's also done a lot of editing and that sort of stuff, and when he does that, he uses Apple products.
Yep.
So and I don't know where I was going with this now. I just think he thinks they're both great. but with a bigger screen and being able to game, this is where I was going.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'd be able to just use the one computer instead of having to use both.
So maybe you can just do the gaming by running Windows on the machine anyway.
Maybe.
Because, they're pretty fast when you do that anyway, the newer machines.
Yeah.
So
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
There you go.
Now, this week, Aussie Tech Heads podcasting. So don't forget, if you're thinking about doing it, contact Glenn, get you up and running and get your podcast going. Can give you some advice, get you up on our Aussie Tech Radio site. Anybody doing Australian podcasts, get into it. I promise you. Now, that's Aussie Tech Heads podcasting. Now, last week while we were doing the show, ABC Australia's Four Corners had a great report on Meet the Scammers. The show was about internet scams and the growing black market in our information. From the I'm a Nigerian prince to the unlucky and love people that have been scammed, it's definitely worth a view. I thought it was great. If you've been scammed or they've worn you down a bit, and they go, that person's an easier target. That person's information's then sold on to thousands of people, so you get targeted even more. They picked up one guy in Canada last year, I think, and they got him because he had a dodgy credit card.
Yep.
And then that's all that was wrong. He had this dodgy credit card, right? That entitled them to look at his phone. Then they found out, like he had thousands of different bits of information about people that were, and marketplaces where all this information was being sold on people. Just so much information. And he was Nigerian based. So,
oh wow.
Or something like that, down south, not South Africa itself, but one of those countries down there.
Yeah, the smaller countries, yeah.
Yeah. So it was a terrific episode, and it was definitely worth the view. So just have a look at it. And again, I've been listening to my Forgotten Australia podcast, who I'm not getting paid to promote it. It's just for Aussies who want to know about their own history. It's worth a listen for sure. I might try and get him on the show one week. That'd be good too, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Find out how he does it and what he does. So yeah, I might go for that. That'd be a good idea.
There you go. So it's Noosa Camera House.
A Noosa Camera House,
yes.
Yeah.
So yeah,
excellent.
I'm not getting paid for this or anything like that. He's just a friend. He's a good friend of mine, and he's an authorized Apple reseller as well. There.
Excellent. Yeah.
So yeah. And so I thought he was worth a mention if you're up that neck of the woods and you need Apple products, you want a camera, anything like that.
Absolutely,
that's the place to go.
There you go. See. Anything else, Zarn? There's one more thing, which is this supposedly, I think it was it March 23rd or something like that. Now there's supposed to be an Apple. Hasn't been shown anywhere, but it's been reported that there'll be an announcement of Apple something or other, probably something to do with this text-based subscription service for like news, etc. And we don't know what else.
Okay.
And that's supposedly the 23rd of March. Oh, another interesting one I heard today was there's a official dates for the Worldwide Developers Conference, because Apple say, right, it's on this, they give you time and say, right, there's going to be a lottery for tickets, etc., and this is when it's going to be on.
Yep.
Apparently, by looking at because it's in, where is it, San Jose or wherever it is, they looked on the government website. The government's responsible for a park, and the park's booked for this particular day. And it's got Apple's name in it.
Yep.
For booking the park, and when it was made, but then when it was made, it's mentioned. Someone must have quickly got online and taken Apple's name off it, but it's still, the park's still. So yeah, interesting. But yeah, so as the person who said on whatever show it was, we're not taking responsibility if you're booking your tickets or airplane tickets or hotel tickets. But yeah, the dates are supposedly official. So,
Oh, excellent.
but they're unofficial. Apple hasn't actually said it. So yeah, that was just something funny this week. And
have we heard back? Because I know we missed our bus ride, and you said you're.
Yeah, I haven't heard back from them. No.
Damn,
that's right. Maybe they're not doing it right now here.
Yeah.
We might have to go up to Armidale, I think, to do it.
I don't mind that idea. I like Armidale. I used to live there when I was a child.
There you go.
So, yeah.
Now, don't forget the show notes. We've got a link in it each week for going back to aussiemaxzone.com.au, and you can get your show notes each week. And you got the last 5 weeks of show notes there. Just moving across the screen. Spotify, you just search for Aussie Max Zone. Apple News, you've got Aussie Max Zone. And now, thanks to our sponsors this week being Aussie Tech Heads Podcasting and IT Help to You. But more importantly, thank you to our supporters, you, our listeners.
Always thank you.
Always. And over to you, young Zarn, before you have another coughing fit.
Oh, no. Before, sorry. Before I go, all our Apple users that, comic book fans and all that stuff. Well, I know there's heaps of you because I've got lots of mates that all use Apple products and we're all comic book fans. On Netflix, I've been watching the Umbrella Academy.
Yeah.
Which is originally a comic book that I've got a few issues. I haven't got them all. I started it, and well, you see my comic book collection. I just, I'm still trying to catch up on other things, and I will finally catch up on that. But I thought I'd watch a few episodes. The new TV series, it's fantastic. So if you're a comic book fan and you like Jared Way, who's also written the comic book. He's also the lead singer of My Chemical Romance. Check the TV series out; it's great. I'm liking it a lot.
Excellent.
Yes. And on that note, I guess an apple a day keeps the androids away. Be kind to each other. Bye.
Excellent.